Good afternoon, and welcome to CabWriter Comprehensive 2, Part 4. Today we're going to pick up where we left off in Part 3. This is where we left off, and I'll just show you. We have the microwave cabinet done, all the way over to this cabinet here. What we don't have done is the Peninsula here. We don't have the island, and there are two cabinets over here, a refrigerator cabinet and a storage cabinet that we will attempt to get done today. Let me just show you what those look like. Here's the model that I have finished up to the point where we would like to get today, with the exception of this upper cabinet. Here's the Peninsula right here. The island cab right here. And notice this is actually, I believe it's 3 cabinets. Let me just check that out. No, it's 2 cabinets. The front part is a little lower than the back part. This is for baking, for rolling out pizza dough or cookie dough or whatever. And this is a back cabinet, which is normal height, same height as these cabinets over here. And there will be a top on this to provide an eating area. This is the refrigerator cabinet, fairly normal. And then we have this tall storage cabinet. Right now there's no doors or drawers or shelves or anything in it, but we'll get to that later. All right, so that's what we want to accomplish today: this peninsula, this island, and these 2 cabinets here. So let's go back and, well, before we do, let's just take a look at what we want here. Now, this dimension here is the opening, 30-inch opening that we have to provide. And I believe what's going in here is an oven. And then we have 2 cabinets. It's going to be 24 3/4 an inch to the pivot point, which you can't see right here. But trust me, I'll show you what that is. So it's 24 3/4 inch to the pivot point and 30 inches for this. So let's try and design that for us. Just to be sure that I'm working with the right set of defaults, as I've been drawing this cabinet, this kitchen, this model, I've been saving defaults in my users defaults section. And many of these cabinets have a different set of defaults, so I've been saving a list. If I go to the open and load CabWriter defaults and open up the drop down box, in the user default section you'll notice I've got a lot of Martha LaBelle defaults. For instance, I got one for the baking base cabinet that we'll use in a while. I've got one for the divided base microwave cabinet, which we've already drawn. I've got one for the divided base storage cabinet that we're going to draw today. Also the divided base upper wine cabinet. The refrigerator cabinet has its own set of defaults. And the Martha LaBelle shallow island cabinet. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to select the Martha LaBelle base cabinets. These are sort of standard base cabinets. So I'm going to select that one and load it. And now that I have those defaults loaded in, I can close this and I'm ready to lay out the story stick for this peninsula. So let me go to the story stick. And I'm going to use the distance tool mark off 30 inches. Now that's the space I don't want to encroach on, because that's the 30 inches that is going to be an opening. So I've got to come over to this side of this marker. And I'll just click here on the line. And I'll say, I want a left opening. That's kind of the matching opening to this opening. And if I remember correctly, it was 24 3/4 of an inch to the pivot point on the Peninsula. So I'll start here, go 24 3/4 while I'm on the line. And I'll come back, click anywhere on the line. And this one wants to be a right pivot sheet. In other words, the end panel is going to be a sheet. I'm going to use the distance tool again. A good number for corner cabinets is 14 inches, so I'm going to come out 14 inches. Enter. And come to this side of the pivot point and click. So this is my pivot style, this is my connector style, and this is my left opening style. So now I'll hit end, E-N-D, on the end key on the keyboard. My first cabinet is going to be a standard base. One door. My next cabinet is going to be a diagonal corner base. Hit OK. I'll wait a moment. And there we go. So we have that drawn. Now let's work on the island. And let's go to see what we have to set up for the island. The front of the island I'll just take a tape measure tool. The front of the island is going to be 36 inches from the front of these cabinets. It'll be 36 inches. And then the front of these back cabinets are going to be 37 inches from that. Let me just check it. 37 inches. So the two fronts are going to be 36 and 37. Let me just go do that right away. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the tape measure tool. Come out 36. And come out 37 from there. And we'll see why we have those two dimensions in a moment. I'm going to go back now to the other drawing, get some more dimensions. Okay, so let's get this measurement. I want to come from here along the red to here. That's 40 7/8. And it's the whole cabinet is 60 inches long. So let's go back to our model. And let's come out 40 7/8. And from there, the whole island is 60 inches long. There we go. Now we have our island marked out. While I have the base cabinet defaults loaded, I'm going to do the front of the island. Now remember, this is 37 inches from here to here. Why is that? Well, let's add 24 inches deep for normal cabinets and 13 inches deep for upper cabinets, and that total, 24 and 13, is 37. So what I want to do is I'm going to change the depth of these cabinets to 13 inches. Let's go to Open and Load CabWriter Defaults, and let's see what we have. We have a set of defaults for the shallower baking base cabinet in the front. That's the base bake cabinet. I think this is probably this one called the Labelle Shallow Base Island cabinet. I think that's the one we're looking for. So I'm going to load those defaults. And just for the heck of it, let's check it. Notice the cabinet depth is 13 inches. That's what I want to check. That's correct. So let's start here with my story stick. I'm going to come over here. That's going to be a left-end sheet. Go here and back on the line. That's going to be a right sheet. Now I'm going to use the centering tool because I want these two boxes to be the same. Oh, here I should mention something. Let me hit escape. I have a choice. I can use my centering tool between the outside markers or the inside markers. It's usually best practice to use the inside markers because this style and this style might be different types of styles, and therefore they might actually be different widths. So if I chose the outside markers, I'd get a center that didn't give me the same opening in these two cabinets. But if I use the inside dimensions for my centering tool, the inside markers, then I'll get two equal openings. This opening and this opening will be equal. So it's generally best to use the inside markers when using the centering tool. And that's probably true if you're trying to if you're trying to get an opening, you certainly want to use the inside markers. Okay, so let's hit end. And both of these are going to be a standard base with two doors. The reason this seems to be taking a long time, longer than usual, is because of the type of joinery we're using here. Captured backs and, oh, look at this. We've got another problem here. Look at the width of this. It's 1 inch. That's not what we want. Let's take a look at those defaults. There must be a problem with them. Face frame. No, end panels. Ah, that's 1 inch. I think that's left over from a previous cabinet I might have been drawing using these defaults. So let's change it back to 3/4. Update it. And close this. Now I'm going to redraw this cabinet. Redraw selected cabinet. Using the stored defaults? No, I just changed them. Wait a moment, see what we get. Okay, that looks much better. Glad we caught that. All right, now I'm going to do the front cabinets. And it's probably easier. Well, I guess I can get it this way. I was going to say I could take the walls away. I'll do that. There, that makes it a little easier. All right. So now let's go back to the story stick. Let's start here. This is going to be a left end sheet, a right sheet, and I think I want 15-inch opening here. What we're going to have is a 3-draw base bank here and a 3-draw base bank here, each with 15-inch openings. So I'll use the distance tool, come out on the line, type 15 and enter. And since that one, I don't want to encroach in here, that's supposed to be a 15-inch opening, so I'll click over here. And I'll do the same thing here using the distance tool. On the line, type 15, enter, and come over this way. All right, so that story stick's laid out. I'll hit end. And the first one's going to be a draw bank base. 3 draws. This one's going to be a standard base, 2 draws, 2 doors rather. And finally, a draw bank base, 3 draws. All right, so now there's a problem. And why is that? Well, it's because I just changed this to have a 13-inch depth. And I used the same set of defaults for this. I want 2 things to be true here. I want this to be shorter, but standard 24-inch depth. So let's go see what's in my toolbox here. Whoops, it's not what I wanted. I wanted the drop down. This is the baking base. And what I used to create it was the shallow base island cabinet. But I didn't use the baking base, so I'm going to use the baking base defaults, load them, close this, and redraw this cabinet. Redraw selected cabinet. Use the stored defaults? No. There we go. Now I've got what I want. Notice it's shorter, but it's standard depth for a base cabinet. This is less depth for a base cabinet, but the same height as a base cabinet. And that finishes my island for now. By the way, when we're all done, we're going to come back and clean things up. For instance, notice that these two pieces can be combined into one, I believe. Yeah, I'm thinking they can. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, so we got this done, this done. We need to do the refrigerator cabinet. I'm going to do that right now, and while I'm thinking of it, so I don't run into this problem again, let me go to my defaults, choose the refrigerator cabinet, and load it. And let's go to the other drawing to see what the refrigerator cabinet measurements are. I believe it's going to be, the refrigerator is going to come out 6.5 inches from here. But we'll see. So we'll check this out. That looks like 6.5 inches. In other words, it's 6.5 inches from there to there. And the refrigerator is going to be 71 inches up. In other words, a 71-inch opening. I'm going to write a few things down here. 71-inch up, 39 9/16 width. I can get that from down here. So let's go back to our other cabinet. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out 6.5 inches along the red. And I'm going to come up 71 along the blue. I'll lock that in with the arrow, up arrow key. 71. And let's go back to our other drawing again for a moment. All right. So I want the refrigerator cabinet to start where this cabinet ends, right there. And I want it to be 39 9/16 wide. So let's do that. I'm going to go with my story stick tool, and I'm going to use the distance tool, start there, 39 9/16. And actually, all I want is, I don't want that tool, I want this tool. 39 9/16. Oh wait, I'm on the wrong line. I want to come out here. So let's see if I can coax this. Nope. So what I'll do, I'll create another line here. going through this line. Now I've got an intersection here. So I'm going to use my magic tool. $39 and 9/16. Now, unfortunately, that's not where I want the mark. I want the mark up here. So what I'll do is I'll just take a vertical line here with the tape measure tool through there. And I'll take another one through there. Now I can superimpose these up here. So now I can take my story stick tool. I've got an intersection right there. I'll go from here to here, and I'll make that a right sheet. Left sheet. And I'll make this a refrigerator. Now, I already have the refrigerator defaults in there, so it should end up correct, a 17-inch high cabinet. So we'll see. All right, now let's measure this. This should be 17 inches high. It's 19 inches. Let me look at the defaults. Refrigerator. Oh, it's set up. The cabinet height is set to 19. Let's see why that is. Let's go to the, let's just check some dimensions here. That's 71. That's 19. Let's see what happened here. Let's go to our previous model. Oh, 19 is the correct dimension. I don't know where I got 17 from, but that's fine. We got the right cabinet. Okay, at this point, this video is 30 some minutes long. That's probably enough for today. In part 5, we'll continue on. Finish the storage cabinet over here to the left of the refrigerator cabinet, and then we'll begin the uppers. So until then, have a good day.